Chasca is a new 5-star Bow Anemo DPS character from Natlun, known as the infamous peacemaker of the Flower Feather clan, or Tlalocan. Ironically, despite her role as a peacemaker, Chasca has faced many conflicts in her life, including the tragic loss of her sister during the Abyss War in the 5.1 Archon quest. First up, her basic attack. Chasca's rocking a bow, so when you tap the attack button, she'll fire off up to 4 quick shots. Simple, right? Now, if you hold down the button instead, she switches to an aim shot for more precise, powerful damage. Here's the cool part. While she's aiming, the arrowhead actually starts to charge with Anemo power. Once it's fully charged, that arrow hits with a burst of Anemo damage. Now here's where Chasca really shines, her Night Soul's Blessing state. When she enters this state, she gains 80 Night Soul points, hops onto her weapon, and gets a huge boost in both movement speed and interruption resistance. This lets her stay airborne, as long as she's got Night Soul points or Phlogiston to keep her up. Want to gain height or spring up? That'll use up some extra points, but it's all part of her flexible playstyle. Her normal and charged attacks also shift in this state, giving you options with her multi-target fire mode. If you tap the button, Chasca deals Anemo damage to enemies in front of her. This counts as her normal attack. If you hold it, she switches to aiming mode, locking onto up to 6 targets. Once she's charged up, she fires off Shadow Hunt shells at each target, and this is where it gets really cool. The last few shells, numbers 4, 5, and 6, can absorb elements from the rest of your team, Pyro, Hydro, Cryo, or Electro, and transform into shining Shadow Hunt shells that deal damage aligned with those elements. This makes Chasca a real powerhouse and super flexible, especially when paired with different elements on your team. You'll be able to adapt her attacks to fit all kinds of battles. And lastly, let's talk about her ultimate. Chasca will fires off a Gale-splitting Soul Reaper shell, dealing a solid burst of Night Soul-aligned AoE Anemo damage. But that's just the beginning. After impact, this shell splits into 6 Soul Reaper shells that spread out and target nearby enemies. Here's the cool part. These Soul Reaper shells can tap into your team's elemental synergy. If you've got Pyro, Hydro, Cryo, or Electro characters on your team, 2 of those shells will convert based on each element, turning into Radiant Soul Reaper shells. These new shells carry that elemental power, dealing Night Soul-aligned damage with the element of the corresponding team member. And that wraps up everything about Chasca's kit. Honestly, she feels like a strong rival to Wanderer, right? They both have similar exploration mechanics and damage boosts, which could make her a game changer for some players. So what do you think? Is Chasca worth pulling, or are you planning to skip this banner? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear if she's on your wish list.